streaming. Hello, we are live on the Cooper Hernick podcast. Today I have a special guest, Will Ord. So, Will, do you want to talk about who you are? Explain yourself. Tell the audience why we are so lucky to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for that introduction. Thanks for giving me a little extra pats in the back. Appreciate it. Helps the ego a bit. So anyway, my name is William Ord. Currently going to be going into my fourth year in the Brock Sport Management program. For those of you who don't know where Brock is, it's a university located in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, right across from Buffalo. If you guys didn't know.
That's a podcast hosted by a club at the university, basically taking on alumni from the program to tell their story and give advice to people either interested in breaking into the sports industry, which is a hot topic given how COVID has sort of affected the landscape a bit, or for people who are just interested in learning more about the different facets of sports of sports business. And I'm also the founder of the Lakeshore Invitational 5 and 10K. It's a charity. It's a virtual race that I've run for the past 2 years to raise a bit of money for a local food bank in my community called the Compass Food Bank. And race week starts tomorrow, and we're just shy of about $1,000 raised for the Compass, which blows my mind, to be completely honest. So
if you want, you can leave a link to that in the chat in here.
Yeah.
And then I'll put that in the stream if people want to like donate or whatever, or check out.
I can send it to you. I can send it to you. Can send it to you quickly. Through at some point during all of this. So excited to be on, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on because if you guys didn't know, I'm going to be going to Brock next year. It'll be my first year in Brock Sports Management. I'm very excited. I think I'm going to have a great time, and I'm excited to meet you in person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Brock's great, but Brock's great. Past 3 years been complete blast.
Yeah.
And that's honestly an understatement, but
and also Brock's gonna be hosting the Canada Games in 2022, from what I've heard. And, I went on a drive there a month back, I think, and campus looks beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, and they're currently renovating the entire athletic facility for the Canada Games.
Yeah, they're getting a couple new buildings. They're going to be completed hopefully by September, October, so I can get at least a year of usage in it before I go. But I mean, it's exciting times. I'm actually going to be a media lead there when the games go on. So it's going to be interesting to see how they unfold. But lots of exciting things going around that campus. I just sent you the link to my races donation page. Cooper, if you want to post that in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put it up in the chat, and I'll put it in the stream description.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pin that to the top. And while I'm looking at links, I'm also going to post the link to the stream on Twitter, just so people know.
Sounds good.
So should we get into the Blue Jays?
How about the Jays? Let's get into that.
So let's talk about about the amazing first baseman that the Blue Jays have, former third baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., son of Vladimir Guerrero Sr. I've talked about him a lot. I'm currently not wearing his jersey, but I do have it. And today, the Blue Jays. We'll talk about today's game in a bit, but they won 18-4. And but back to the point, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading the league in batting average, not normal for a heavy set player. He's number 3 in hits, number 1 in home runs, number 1 in RBIs, number 3 in runs scored. Leading a bunch of other stats too. Bo's leading in runs scored. Great, we have a great team, and we are going to talk about how great this team will be and how great they are. But what do you think that the chances are that he's going to be an MVP this year?
Based on the numbers, if he keeps his up, the chances are very high. I'm not sure when was the last time I think we had the MVP was Donaldson back in 2016. So it's been recent, but you know.
But for a Toronto Blue Jay to be the MVP, they have to actually have a really good season because of Toronto bias, American sports.
Well, you know what?
They're normally against Toronto players, Canadian sports teams, because they don't want to give us more money, as we all know.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like it's a tough thing where you know where there a trial bias. I don't know. I don't know. It certainly takes a lot more for players to play here.
Yeah, because
maybe I guess maybe you could argue because of like the exchange rate or something like that. But I think that argument is gonna, like, over the past couple of years has become more and more moot because like you see the signing of George Springer. There's a guy. There's a guy who wants to play in Toronto.
But still, he hasn't played a game, and that's another point I wanted to hit on. George Springer hasn't played a game. Our $150 million leadoff hitter hasn't played a game. So this team isn't even at their full potential, and they're hitting 18 runs a game.
Yeah,
this team will be better than the 2015 Blue Jays, and I can't believe I just said that.
I'm not sure. I mean, we're at that point in the season.
Ooh, yeah, we're at 3. I mean, we have 3 viewers in the chat.
We're at that point of the season where we can make all these proclamations, but it's the get done part of the season officially. In my opinion,
we've already passed the 60 game point.
Yeah,
so we're definitely at that point, as you just said.
I mean, to be honest, the AL East is the AL East,
very tough division.
And possibly, there's a chance that the Jays could finish in third place, but still grab a wild card spot.
Yeah, as they did last year. And I hope that they actually make it past the 3-game mark in the playoffs, because that was good last year.
If that's a thing. If that's a thing now,
because they got eliminated in 3 games, which is terrible. But at least they made it. They're ahead of schedule. You don't expect a team that sucked for the past 3 years to be good all of a sudden. But they proved it. They proved that they are a great team. They'll be great for a while because they have so many young players, and they have more players coming. Look at who's a player I can mention? Nate Pearson. He's still in the minor leagues. That Adam Kolfstein guy. He's in. I think he's in Vancouver.
Here's my hot take about Nate Pearson. We're at the point now where he's either going to become a good starting pitcher or he's going to become a case of similar to Aaron Sanchez.
Aaron Sanchez.
So here's why I'm saying that.
Because the injuries.
He's been bounced. So he has been bouncing around the minors quite a bit.
But
Which
maybe it'll be the Roy Holiday situation.
Yeah, which fair play. Which development, I guess. But if I'm the Blue Jays, I'd basically err on the side of caution and be careful when it's the next time. It's the next time you bring them up. And do you ease them? Do you ease them in? Do you bring them into a starting role right away? That's Montoya and Shapiro's call at the end of the day. But it's a pretty important. It's a pretty important one
also Ross
for the kid's
Atkins'
confidence,
call.
right?
That's also the call of Ross Atkins, Blue Jays GM, who I used to hate. I used to hate him. You can say in the chat what you guys think about him, but I thought he did a really bad job with a lot of his trades earlier in his tenure. But then I started to think this guy isn't that bad.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about why people hated Ross Atkins and Shapiro.
Because of the Josh Donaldson trade.
Well, for a variety.
Because he got a player that had Tommy John surgery and was still recovering for an MVP.
So
that's why I didn't like him. Even though Merriweather is pretty good.
I guess with all those trades, like Toronto sports fans I've seen are
the biggest
they're very attached.
If you go look at Leafs Nation is probably one of
a scarred bunch.
It's a bunch of depressed people, to say the least. I'm one of them, but I've learned to not be as attached. I've learned to try to not watch a lot of games because then I'll feel attached and I'll get upset. Because if you don't get as attached, you won't feel as bad of the fall when they lose.
I'm the opposite. I probably watched about 95% of the Leafs games, even though, and take this in, even though that in 2020, I went to a Toronto Maple Leafs game versus the Carolina Hurricanes, February 20th, 2020. If you recognize the date, you'll probably know the results. You'll probably know they lost to the Zamboni driver.
That was the Zamboni driver game. I remember that game.
Yeah,
that's probably the reason why you might have depression.
Well, you know what? With the playoffs, it's like
you probably saw if 25,000 people not become Leafs fans when you saw that game.
You know what? Like the visceral reaction is, you're kidding me, but you know what? Just take it in perspective. It's hockey. I've officially moved on to the baseball season. And let me just quickly elaborate on my point of like why people did not like Atkins. It was again just because of those trades. But when you look at the assets they got back, it's actually quite impressive. And credit to them for taking all that. Credit to them for taking all that heat, because if they took it the wrong way, they probably could have said, well, we should probably go. But on my show, I was one of the episodes I had was with the employee of the Blue Jays. He's in charge of client services and premium suites. He was telling me that the Blue Jays motto was, and it's in writing at every single training facility, the Sky Dome, everywhere the Blue Jays have operations. Their models get better every day, and I think those trades.
I think you're cutting out.
With that motto in mind. Now, time will tell if they achieve long-term success, but they're on the way. And I mean, I guess let's go into the 18-4 game. To be completely honest, I only watched a bit of it. But
so we'll get into that in a bit, but first we have to reply to a couple chats. So okay. I think this might be one of your friends, Isaac Ohayon.
No, don't know him. I don't think so.
Oh, he said, "Yo, Ords, how's it going?"
Hang on, it's going good. Hang on, just 1 second. Wait a second. I'm on the Google Meet here, so hang on just 1 second.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're not on the YouTube.
Oh, okay. Actually, okay. Okay. Now I recognize him. Okay, there we go. Now I recognize them. What's good? Perfect. I just didn't recognize the YouTube username. My bad. There we go. Solid.
So I thought I'd mention that you made up a couple fans.
Very nice. Very nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah. But now let's talk about the game. So the Blue Jays, they won 18-4.
Jesus.
18-4. This, I haven't seen a game like this since 2015. I know I've said that a couple of times, but that's the last time I've seen a high octane offense like this.
So the last time that I saw a score like this, I actually was at the game. And the Blue Jays were taking on the Cincinnati Reds. I think it was like 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. It was 2017. They beat the Reds by like 19-2. There was like not. I think it was like a grand slam. Tulowitzki had a dinger or two. It was and funny enough, starting pitcher was Sanchez. but like that's probably the highest score I've seen, since attending that game live.
So to Isaac O'Han, I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing? And we have people with 3 people in the chat right now. Let's go. 3 people, everyone. But 2017 was a long time ago, and we finally have good baseball back with the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not going to say in Toronto because they're not in Toronto right now. But this team is looking like a really, really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after today, Martin Perez should just retire because he's not been a very good pitcher for a little while now, and he showed that he sucks.
Yeah,
he absolutely sucks.
I mean, like Major League pitching is as hard as it is, and I sort of feel a little sorry for the guys that are fading because it takes a lot to stay in this league. Like you can't pitchers aren't always going to be blessed with the talents of Jacob
or blessed with the best durability
of Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and
Garrett Cole.
Might I add Bartolo Colon. But like the thing with pitching is like it's almost like it's the best job when you're doing well, but it's the worst job when you give up 4 or 5 runs, right? And if you're like a fringe 5 guy, who needs to pitch well in order to stay on the roster, right? It is a tough balance. So I mean, the sport, the sport really doesn't really just demand success, but I mean, you kind of have to feel for the people that's that are just trying to stick in the league, I guess.
But I just want to congratulate Isaac O'Han on doing really well, and he got his 3rd dose of the vaccine. So congratulations to Isaac O'Han. I don't know who this guy is, but congratulations on your 3rd dose of the vaccine. I don't know why you're getting a 3rd dose, but
Probably clickbait.
But quick PSA from myself, and I don't know if William is going to agree with me. Please get your vaccines. I had my first one a couple months ago.
Good stuff. Please get vaccinated. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
if we want to see live sports again, we all have to get vaccinated. That's the only
Yep.
way that the Trudeau administration will let us go back to live sports. So if either of us want to be making money soon, we have to get vaccinated. Everyone has to get vaccinated. So Teoscar Hernandez had 2 home runs today. He's having a good season. The entire team was really good. Well, except for Riley Adams. I've been a fan of Riley Adams for the past couple of years. I think he's a really good catching prospect. If he just sits under Danny Jansen for a little while, because Danny's a great catcher. I love his defense.
I disagree. I do not like Danny Jansen. I don't like him.
So here's my philosophy about catching. I believe that having a good hitting catcher it's a good thing to have, but it's not very needed, because the most important thing about catching is being able to play defense and call a good game. And Danny Jansen can do that really, really well.
Yeah. But I mean the problem that he's having right now is that the Blue Jays have 3 guys in Kirk, McGuire, and Jansen that can be that in himself that are that are readily available to play in the majors. Kirk's played well before he got injured. The limited amount that McGuire has got, he's been good as well. But I mean,
so here's my opinion on Reese McGuire. I do not like Reese McGuire for. I'll just give you one reason: pervert. This guy is a perv.
Yeah.
He's not deserving of the team. He should have been a lot more careful when changing in his car or whatever he was doing. Because this guy, he was arrested. I'm pretty sure he was arrested for public masturbation. He was put on trial. I probably shouldn't be talking about this on YouTube.
It's bad. Yeah. But, I mean, but with Jansen though, like, you're looking at, as good as he is defensively, the problem is that with that good defense, you're expected to chip in a bit on the offense. So,
but I think Vladdy offsets his bad defense. And his bad offense.
But the problem is you're looking at his numbers, and I hate to say it, Jacob deGrom is a higher batting average. So
you probably are right. But that's the same thing with someone like Jeff Mathis. He's also a defensive-only catcher.
Yeah.
But he's still in the league because he can call a good game. And that's why the most important thing about catching is defense. Do you know the YouTuber Baseball Bits?
Yeah, a couple.
So he did a video about Jeff Mathis, and that's where I learned about why Jeff Mathis is such a good... but why he's still in the league, and why...
Interesting.
Someone like Mike Napoli, why he's not in the league anymore, because they were once in a position battle, and Jeff Mathis won because of his defense, and that's why Danny Jansen will probably be in the league for a little while.
Yeah, interesting take.
Should we continue on the Blue Jays' good game, or should we move on to the pitching?
I mean, the game speaks for itself. Let's move on to the pitching, which is a bit more of a pressing issue, I find.
Yeah. So by pitching, I mean bullpen. So the bullpen this year, it started off in April as really, really good. I think they had like the best bullpen in the league in terms of ERA, FIP, and a lot of the other metrics. But in the past month and a couple days, their bullpen just fell off a cliff because of all the injuries that they've had. Just injury after injury after injury, and you can't just have 2 guys that are good in high leverage situations be the only 2, because you have Dolis and you have Romano, who are both terrific arms. Dolis came out of nowhere from Japan, and became a great pitcher. Um, but someone like Tyler Chatwood, he's been a disappointment.
Yeah. The thing with the main issue with the bullpen is it's injuries have obviously put in the factor. Like, Phelps and Yates were two acquisitions that the Jays wanted to bolster their pen, but they didn't expect him to go on the 60-day DL and Yates to go do the same thing, and I think have Tommy John
Yeah,
surgery as
he had
well.
Tommy John after like maybe a
Just
day of spring training, which was the most
nasty.
disappointing injury that they had because they
Just nasty,
remember he was
and
on a 1 year contract for I think $10 million. So that's ten
yeah,
million dollars down the drain after a day of spring training.
yeah.
So
I mean, you know
disappointment.
what? Those, it is what it is. Like, what can you do if you're the Blue
Yeah,
Jays when that
it,
happens,
it's
right?
all about
But I mean,
it's all a
other
bunch of
than
soft tissue injuries,
yeah,
which are
other than Dolis and Romano, Baraki for me has been
really good.
a pleasant surprise
Yeah,
out of the
he's always
pen.
been a good guy out of the bullpen. When he was a starter, he was okay at times. I
Hmm.
originally thought he was Mark Burley 2.0, but then I realized he couldn't stay healthy. But
Yeah,
now as a reliever, he's been really good. Uh, Here's one of my favorite pitchers on the team, Tim Mesa. I love Tim Mesa,
interesting,
and that is slightly biased because I'm a lefty, just like him. I've always been a fan of
interesting.
left-handed pitchers. That's why I've always loved Clayton Kershaw. When someone like Aaron Loop was on the team, I loved him. Brett Cecil, he was a great pitcher. And Tim Mesa is here to carry the torch, being the Blue Jays lefty special.
Yeah,
Being the lefty.
Mesa's interesting because he's another high velocity arm, which the Jays
Yeah,
can use.
great fastball,
Um,
great slider.
yeah, but I mean again, you're looking at the roster, and it's either you're gonna have to convince a starter, which from the looks of things is probably going to be one of Trent Thornton or Anthony Kay, to convince them, look, for this season, you're going to have to commit to having a bullpen mentality, which means you're going to have a couple innings per game if you get in, because of our starting situation, or
It's the same thing as last year. I think it was either one of them or both of them that had to pick, and I just wish that they could learn how to be more like Ryan Baraki. Is Ryan
yeah,
Baraki? He's uh,
it's not a, but
at the best.
I mean, it's easier said than done. Like,
Yeah,
it's a process to get, from starter to bullpen.
yeah,
It's a different mentality.
yeah,
Starting's more of a marathon
yeah.
where
With starting,
you're getting
you're
six or
trying to
seven
save
innings.
all your bullets, and
But yeah,
try to not
bullpens are
use all your bullets in the first inning. But with the
yeah
bullpen, you just go
bullpen.
out
It's
there
like you're
throwing
going
bullet
two
after
three
bullet.
innings, right? So I mean, it's you can say, oh, I wish he was like Rocky. Well, I mean, some like those guys take time, but they have to be used in situations where
Yeah,
confidence can be developed. But given the situation with the arms of the bullpen, like, unless it's a route game, and the starter decides to go six and they're up by eight, or by a good amount of runs, then I mean, I've been a critic of Montoyo, but
we'll get
to
into
be
that in
but
a bit.
yeah, I've been a critic of Montoyo, but there are some times where it's like, well, Dolis has been used, and it's like, where do you go if Romano's having a rest day, right? So there is a bit of perspective that needs to be brought there as well.
Yeah, um, it definitely is hard to go to the bullpen. I mean to switch into being a bullpen arm. Um, But the Blue Jays bullpen was definitely very good before, and if they didn't have a bunch of guys going the injury list, and I think we're supposed to get Thomas Hatch back soon.
Oh wow, that's good.
Because I was hearing some stuff about um, him being on his rehab assignment and progressing fairly well. And Carl Edwards Jr., a former Chicago Cub, he's been looking pretty good. He's a great lengthy player. I think I remember him a good fastball. Um, and if they can get Julian Merriweather back, their bullpen will be good. Because he has a great fastball, even though he hits at Tommy John. He really surprised me. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any additional news on Thomas Hatch.
it's just that he's on his rehab assignment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He'll be throwing for Buffalo. Barucki's doing some throwing progression, and that's the news that we have having these guys. But I mean, if you would have told me that they would be at this point again with all those injuries, I'd be happy. But again, we're coming out to the point where it turns into the get it done league you know, instead of the we tried this league or we tried that league, right? So, we hope we will see how it goes. But I mean, over the next 75 game stretch, I am hoping that injuries are minimal to be completely frank, because because the fact that the Jays are going through all this, even and without a home field, although fair play to Buffalo, their fans are pulling a lot of weight there.
Yeah, and I think Bills fans can pull the weight. We have Bills Nation behind us. I think we can do it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting how many people support the Blue Jays there.
Yeah,
Given that
it's Western New York. They're all a bunch of Blue Jay fans.
yeah, given that there's a huge Leaf Sabres rivalry, I don't know, I sort of expected the opposite, for maybe them to cheer for the Yankees or something like that. But I mean, it
They
could
would
be
cheer for
further
the
from the
Yankees.
truth.
If anything, they would cheer for maybe like the Tigers or maybe even Pittsburgh. Is Pittsburgh's
Pirates,
kind of close.
Pirates,
Yeah,
Pirates,
well,
Cleveland.
actually, excuse me. Pirates aren't a Major League Baseball team. They are a AAA team. Guys,
Uh,
they do not count as a Major League Baseball team. They suck. The
it's
Pirates
it's
absolutely suck.
it's not it's not good in it's not good in Pirate Land. Let me tell you,
So I'm just
I'd
gonna
hate to be a fan of
I'm
that
gonna
team.
I'm gonna go turn on the lights. It's starting to get a little dark. Okay, now it's nice and bright.
All right, sweet.
So the Pirates absolutely suck. Uh, it, so I saw that you're also a subscriber of Your Knitting Tree. So he's a Pirates fan. I love watching this guy just like cry about the Pirates because the Pirates just suck.
He's also done the 45 minutes thing
Roasting the
about
Leaf Nation.
about the Ballard curse, which is
Yeah.
fascinating. Let's keep it to the Blue Jays, I guess, and move on to the one of the few topics to before the stream comes to a close, I guess.
Should we get on to the Montoya rant? Because I put the link to my Fire Charlie Montoya petition.
Yeah, I mean, so
So
that's
if you guys want in the chat, if you want Charlie Montoya to be fired, go to the link in the chat so we can get Charlie Montoya fired.
here's how I get it from a rational perspective. Okay, Montoya's an interesting guy. There's a lot of things that he's done with the Blue Jays
Yeah,
that
there's also a lot
are
of
good.
annoying things that he's done.
Like
the opener.
He's a good he's a good person. He's a good manager. Like,
Yeah,
I guess the apprehension that we have with him is that he's not like the old school. He's not like the old school managers. He doesn't act that way. Which is like, okay,
He's not like
fine.
Gibby.
Yeah, yeah, but there where it comes like to criticism is like there have been games where like a pitching change. There's been like a pitching change here and there where it has cost the Blue Jays on some nights. Take the first game against the White Sox. Robbie Ray had a lot on his shoulders when he was facing the White Sox, who put out their ace against them, and he allowed, I think, one run off 3 or 4 hits. And then Montoya goes to the pen and he brings out Trent Thornton, which I was like, okay, fine. If you're transitioning that guy to the pen, then why? But then fine. But this is a high pressure situation. Like, don't like not like not. I'm not discrediting Trent Thornton, but he's a starter going to the bullpen. You have to work him in. And then I think they gave up like 4 or 5 runs, and the game was at a reach. And it's like, again, I can't remember what bullpen arms were available, but I mean, that's a thing where it's like, okay, if Delise or Romano, and I know that they're playing with limited cards in the bullpen. But if Delise and Romano are a little tired, say Delise could go for 2 innings, but due to fatigue, he could only go for like 1 1/3. Maybe they could have used Trent Thornton in a situational basis. Maybe he pitches 2/3. But again, like there's so much going on within the game of baseball that it's easy to criticize when you get down to but when you get right down to it, it's a lot. It is a lot to unpack. So there's definitely room for criticism, but with how the bullpen has been with the injuries, I don't envy the guy's job either. That's not to say that he shouldn't be criticized. It's just we have to keep that keep that in mind. But the onus is on him to manage his active roster effectively, to put them in a situation. And there's been a bunch of times where it hasn't gone well, and you end up with a series where, say, you only win 1 of the 3, and you look back and you're like, well, if that didn't happen, we could have taken 2 out of 3 easily, and that becomes really crucial down the line, where you're playing in the AL East, and there's little room for error. And sometimes I wish like the Jays were somewhere. We're in the AL Central, to be completely honest, because like geographically, it makes more sense for them. But
and if they were in the AL Central, they would definitely be the best team. The AL
Central
absolutely
who
sucks.
Who am I to judge? But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we as fans don't know behind the scenes of a professional baseball team. So I tend to err on the side of caution when I criticize. But that's not. But again, it has to be addressed at some way, shape, or form. And does it call for termination at this point? I don't know. I think Montoya
probably doesn't.
He is Atkins and Shapiro's guy for now, but again, we will see. He seems to have a lot of rope, but again, we'll see how things progress, and when they get into those go into those situations, how how Montoya and his staff are able to manage things to put them in a good position to win. I don't and but again I I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think it'll be grounds for firing just yet.
I'm just going to turn on the other light. 1 second. There we go. Now it will be staying bright. Now you guys will actually be able to see me. So, since you gave your rational take, how about you give a more of a hot take? Well, let's rip into Charlie. Even though I don't think he should be fired, I think he's a pretty good manager. Uh, I originally did think that he was a terrible manager. I still have that Google form that you guys can all sign as a petition to get him fired, but he did take us to the playoffs, so I don't really want him fired. But do you want to lead the way and rip into Charlie?
I mean, you know what? Like, again, it's there. But where I sort of draw the line is like, you know, you're currently neck and neck for third in the AL East, and there's a time where you got to get going. And if this doesn't happen with the team around them, there's gotta be there's some blame thrown to the coach. Sure, there's mitigating factors and all that with the injuries, but there's going to be some blame thrown to the coach if things don't go that way. Let's hope not, because there's going to be a lot of questions that they have to answer to. But
yeah,
we'll see how it plays. But again, like there's so many games left that I really can't yell at them yet as a fan. But when you get but it's getting to that point where again it's the get it done league. So we'll see. We will see.
And let's read off. I'm going to read off some Google form responses from people. So one person said, because he's not a veteran coach, he cannot connect with players in any way. He's a complete baby when it comes to standing up for his players. Someone says he's an A-word clown. I'm not going to say the full word. Bad management, no backbone. I do agree he does need to develop a backbone. Someone said he's incompetent. Someone said they hate him. Someone said he's a moron. He should be fired now.
You know what? Look, like
he's a moron. T-word.
It's you know what? Like to those who are saying Montoya was like underqualified. I mean, coming from an armchair GM, it's coming from a person who said that who's probably an armchair GM. I don't know. Like, he's been in baseball a long time, just not in the managerial role. He's been a third base coach
for a while.
Minor league manager, paid his dues, and third base coach as well. But
fact about Charlie, he actually played for the Montreal Expos, so he actually has experience playing in Canada.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite fun facts about him. Maybe that's why they actually hired him.
Yeah, and again, we'll see. We'll see how we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, it is what it is with the managerial situation, and we can't do the take about not connecting with their players. Well, I guess you gotta speak to the players. Like, the Jays dugout is pretty upbeat. We haven't seen fights or anything like that with the manager.
Some of these responses are from a couple of years, or from a year ago.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this is an old Google form that I'm.
But it's interesting. It's interesting how times change. But I mean, like, the Jays dugout is pretty pretty upbeat. There haven't been any fights yet, but I mean, like, I think as fans of the game, like we all live for when something bad happens for the manager to yell and scream at the umpire and create the classic baseball theatrics.
Yeah, even though
Like if
that's classic John Gibbons, which was
yeah,
hilarious.
yep.
I honestly I love that John Gibbons era because of how funny it was. Because he was like uh, uh, who's the former Dodgers manager? Tony La Russa? No, Tommy Lasorda. That's his name. Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah.
That's what he reminded me of, kind of. But let's get to some of the chats. So, Al Chris, who I had on the podcast a couple days ago, it says Talkin Blue Jays. Talkin Blue Jays, Al Chris. I love you. You were great on the podcast. And from Jay Hood, and also we have 4 people in the chat now. It's a record for today. This guy said, "How do y'all think Jose Altuve's season been?" So the little gigante cheater.
I gotta be honest. I don't think I haven't paid attention much to the Astros and their games. But I mean,
but they are still tight.
They are, but they're still plugging along. You can sort of you can go at them all you want, but they're a good team with good players, and you can't deny that.
Threatening for a Alex Bregman's a great player.
Threatening for a wild card spot again, but I mean, as long as this cheating scandal weighs over their head, they're going to get a lot of flack for a long time. They can't do anything about it. It's just how it is.
You have to let the court of public opinion say what they want, because we didn't get to say anything last year. We weren't allowed in stadiums, so they deserve their punishment from public opinion. We need to be banging trash cans in stadiums. We need to be yelling at these players. They deserve it. They shouldn't have cheated. Yeah. Even though their players are great, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna doubt them on that. It is kind of smart what they did. It's very innovative. I'm not gonna deny that, but it is still cheating. So we do have to boo them and do what we can.
Yeah, there are a few Astros though that I like as players. I mean, just the first guy, Zach Greinke.
Yeah, Zach Greinke, amazing, and it's amazing how much mental health trauma this guy went through. Because I was reading and watching a couple videos about stories about his mental health struggles earlier in his career, especially with Kansas City. Oh, you have an early shift tomorrow. We'll start wrapping up soon. So, what point was I at?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're talking about Greinke. I mean, again, great pitcher. I think he's like 35 or 36, but he's still chucking along, and probably with one of the silliest pitches in Major League Baseball. That 62-mile-an-hour curve. That
I wouldn't call it a curveball. I'd call it what was? Isn't that his ethos pitch?
Yep, it's the ethos pitch.
Yeah, that's my favorite pitch.
Oh my god!
I've used that on a couple of hitters. I'm a pitcher, if I haven't mentioned, and I love using the ethos. But what I love more is my curveball.
Yeah. I only played house league, so I mean, like with the mile per hour, like you could argue every pitch was wasn't ethos. Oh god. Good times though. Good times.
L. Chris just put that Tree's currently listening to Antonio Brown music. So
Uh,
after this, maybe we should try to do uh, like a stream raid of Tree.
oh God,
Um,
he didn't. No, he. No, wait a minute. Oh no, no, no! I'm not thinking about Antonio Brown. He was listening. There was a video where he listened to like
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I think that was just the title of the stream. I didn't actually see him listening to Le'Veon Bell because I was in there for very short.
Mm-hmm.
But Tree is hilarious. So where do you think the Blue Jays will end up in the AL East after the season's over?
Hopefully, my prediction: third, been in a wild card spot, but
Oh, you think
they
third?
could be as high as second. Who knows how it's going to play out? But
Because
if the bullpen rebounds from
I
those
think
injuries,
I
then
think the Red Sox are about to collapse.
we'll see. We'll
So
see.
I think it's
But
probably going to end up being Tampa, New York. It's so hard to make a decision.
yeah, to be honest, my top five will be probably Tampa, a toss up between Boston and Toronto for second. It could go either which way. But again, like Yankees aren't looking good. So I'll place them at fourth for now.
And then you have the Orioles, uh, like 1,000 miles behind the rest of the pack.
The Orioles are the Orioles are the Orioles. So I mean,
They still have Chris Davis on their roster, so they're fucked. Oh,
poor guy,
they're screwed.
poor Chris
Well,
Davis.
is he still on the roster?
He's still on the roster. Yeah.
Because I forgot if they DFA'd him yet. Because they probably
I don't think so because they still they still owe him all this money.
because
But
if you DFA him, you'll have Bobby Bonilla 2.0.
oh God, tough times for the Orioles. Also,
So to Isaac O'Han, you want to get a fourth dose, and you think that will help your arm because it hurts.
that's clickbait.
And maybe 5. So
that's clickbait.
I think you're baiting us right here. I think you're
clickbait. Third dose.
No, he wants his 5th dose now. So I'm gonna say no. Please don't waste the distribution. Maybe give it to someone in India. Let someone in Africa have it. But I think the Blue Jays are going to end up in first place. I know it's a bold prediction. You guys probably hear the train in the background, but the Blue Jays are going to be in first place. How it looks right now, they are looking like the best team. Just look at them. If they get Springer back, if they can have a healthy pitching staff, they will be a good team.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to end the stream because I know that Will has to go. So we're gonna end it here. Bye, guys. Love all.